just my background. I went to cooking school as a young man, Mission College and junior college for about 1 year and 3/4. Then I figured out what the chefs do, and I promptly quit cooking school. Took my whites, my robe, and my knives, and my hat, and just left cooking school, and kind of became like the carpenter cook. And it was an avocation of mine throughout my life. I just had these great skills. So my foreman loved to eat, and I loved to cook. So every Friday we had a big feed. And we got to do great things like that. And I explored Cajun cuisine. My background, I really enjoyed continental cuisine. And I really enjoyed meat and butter and flour. And for me, vegetables were a garnish. As long as it was covered in a lot of butter and a lot of salt. So that is all, that's one end of the spectrum. I am just moved to the other end of the spectrum now, where my life is a plant-based approach. And I use the oils in my cuisine, primarily to enhance my mood and my energy, and to take lawn clippings, juicing, and I'm eating a lot of kale now, and all these veggies. And I've just taken my cuisine to a new dimension by using essential oils. But there's a lot of ruined meals, and there's a lot of bad dishes that it took to get me there. I didn't have the training as Alicio does and the expertise.
Good. You don't need the training. You know, Edison only took what 2,000 times before he invented the light bulb.
That's right. Persistence. So I'd like to thank my family for their patience. And anyway, I've learned some secrets. I've learned some techniques. We're going to talk about that. But anyway, I'd like to introduce Alicio, executive chef. Comes from a lineage of Italian chefs in Tuscany. He was a head chef at Apple One.
All over the place.
All over the place. Many years of technical experience. So here we go.
Okay,
let's get started.
Very quickly, I'm from Italy, like Roman said, from Tuscany. My family, I grew up in a farm, so I grew up with chicken, rabbit, pigeon. We used to kill pigs every winter. We used to make prosciutto. My uncle, he was a farmer, so we used to have cows. So that was my growing up. And being a chef, I've been a chef for over 30 years now. 30 years, wow. That doesn't reveal my age, right? I've seen the change in the industry. I mean, nowadays the food is so expensive. And the price of actually food, it went up, but not as much as the food has been going up. And I'm a corporate chef right now. I do food for over 3,000 people a week. And you know, I just want to educate people to eat right. You know, unfortunately nowadays for lunch, people don't have enough time to prep a nice meal or a healthy meal. That's the most important. So they get resource to outside vendor, and I service company that people, I mean, they have all this corporation cafeteria, and the food they serve is just junk. And they have always had to feed the price range, you know, and for them to make money because they have so much labor involved, they just serve crap. So the company we are organic. We want to serve healthy food, and we tell the people, look, this is our price range. You know, if you want the cheesy stuff, go find somewhere else because we won't budge. So, you know, it's a matter of educating people and let them know. I was talking to a friend of mine, which is about my age, and he has a son, and he's from Greece, and his son has Crohn's disease. So, and I see lots of kids with disease that they were not as common 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So what did that tell me? That all the chemical that we eat every single day in the food we purchase, the packaging in plastic, the microwave dinner that we do, try to stay away from that. You know, food cannot be boring. You know, you have the oil. That's why I like to emphasize the oil, because actually they help you get better and eliminate the toxin in your body. Okay. Lemon, I mean lime, all the lemon is citrusy oil, and the cilantro, I've just found out cilantro is very good to get rid of the metal in your body. So, how many of you use the oil in the kitchen? There you go. Any particular, what do you guys do? Dressing, you bake, what do you do?
I flavor my own ice creams.
Wow, very good. Anybody else?
Fudge.
Which one?
Fudge.
Fudge, nice.
Peppermint. Orange.
Peppermint orange, that's very nice. So tonight, I'll just show you very quickly how it's easy to use oil in the kitchen. First of all, we're going to start to infuse some olive oil. This is the olive oil that my family produced in Italy. It's not for sale. We don't produce it now. I just give it. So, simple things. How many bottles of olive oil you see on the market with red pepper, with cilantro, with rosemary, with sage and thyme? You know, imagine if you had to buy all those bottles of oil, which you get excited the first 2 days, and then it's going to sit in your pantry, and a month later the oil is rancid, you're going to throw it away. So a simple way to use the oil, you have a nice bottle of extra virgin olive oil, then you get, I believe this one is lemon, and you're going to do 1 drop of lemon, actually 2 drops. Then the second oil, we're going to do basil, and again, 2 drop, 2 drop. And the last one, we're going to do rosemary. So 2 drop, 2 drop. You get asparagus, you stir it up, 2 and 3, and the trick is done. So
Chef's
come up
prerogative.
here. We have some bread, and I want you guys, please feel free to walk around, exercise, and taste the oil. Come on up.
Come on up.
All right. There you go.
You can change the flavor of your oil every night. You don't have to buy
Every
expensive.
night you can have a new essence. One thing that I'm having a lot of fun with is getting different types of oils. So I'll play around with like a walnut oil and maybe a hazelnut nut oil, and use some of like some of the warmer oils, like coriander, and I'll add peppers. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but. Here's a lemon.
Any one. The first one is lemon, basil, and rosemary.
Mix them. Have some fun.
Yeah. We'll have a little plate. You can get a couple of pieces of bread and eventually see it. So the next one, guys, we are going to do gluten-free pasta tonight. So it's a very simple recipe that I've done with another lady. We did a class about 2 weeks ago, and it was some gluten-free people. So she brought me some rice noodles, and rice noodles they really don't have that much flavor. So came to me. I was home that night. My wife was like, "Yeah, let's make something." So I said, "What do we have?" I said, "Some green beans, some cherry tomatoes, some onions, and next thing you know, I just sauteed very quickly with olive oil, and then we add some oil." So what I've been experimenting with the oil in the kitchen, especially with the lemongrass. I love lemongrass. And do you know how hard it is to do a lemongrass rice? So I'll give you a trick how to do a perfect lemongrass rice. You get your jasmine rice, you cook it with water, a little bit of salt. When it's nice and ready, you get a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, put 2 drops of lemongrass, stir on top of the rice, fluff it up, the trick is done. I mean, if you try with a real lemongrass, the lemongrass is very stocky. So if you make a broth, and you cook it and then you do the rice, you're not going to get the pungent flavor of the lemongrass. Plus you destroy all the property of the lemongrass. Second, if you want to do the rice and you chop the lemongrass and you put it inside the rice, you cook it with the rice, then you're going to have a hard time to remove the pieces because lemongrass is very stocky. So the essential oil, lemongrass essential oil is amazing. Amazing. Lavender, I use it for dessert. I do a panna cotta with lavender. I've done a little raspberry puree with ginger, with wild orange, lime. You can spice it up any way you want. So tonight we're going to do a few simple things. I like to not to repeat the same recipe over and over. So the pasta tonight is going to be a rice noodle with onion, cherry tomato, and green beans. And we're going to use extra virgin olive oil with, we said, ginger and cilantro. So we're going to give a little oriental flavor tonight. Okay?
And Alicio makes a really good point about the rice. What I've done is directly put the essential oils into the food and totally ruined those dishes. One drop makes a huge difference. So one of the secrets, the techniques that's so important is to have these little gamatasa size, little beakers, little dishes to put. I like to use about 1 drop to about an ounce of essential oil. So kind of like a 1-to-1. 1 drop of oil to about 1 fluid ounce of olive oil or nut oil. I also like to do salt rubs. I like to make seasoned salt. So the essential oils, I like to make about 1 tablespoon of good sea salt, either earth salt or sea salt. This one's a Himalayan pink, so that's an earth salt. There's no accident that there's 84 minerals in sea salt, and there's 84 minerals in our body.
Oh, nice.
I stay away from any type of mass-produced salt. I use them to clean my pans, and after I cook, and I just dump that in there and wipe them down. So about 1 tablespoon of sea salt to 1 drop of essential oil, and I use all kinds of different formulas. We can talk a little bit more about that later.
And don't forget the mint oil. See, when in the kitchen gets nice and hot, take your peppermint, put it on your neck.
There we go.
Actually, I like in tuna. I like to do
Yeah, here's the chef's best friend. So I like to keep my oils right here. I went skateboarding today, and I didn't have my Deep Blue, but I did have my little chef blend, which is, I just call it the Energizer blend also. It's lemon, black pepper, and ginger in equal amounts. I keep a little bottle, and I just bring that when I travel. So hard to get just good seasonings a lot in these restaurants. Things are pretty bland, so sometimes I'll just add that to the water. I'll add it to the food and kind of toss it around a little bit. But I had some aches and pains on the bottom of my feet, so I got a little bit of a carrier oil, and I put this 4 or 5 drops on there, and I feel great. This is an Energizer blend for me. So. Ginger, black pepper, and lemon. Yeah. Another one I like also is just lemon, black pepper. I mean, just the classic formulas. Go to your supermarket, go to your health food store. Look at the salts. You know, they're $4 or $5 for a little tiny bottle. What's 1 drop or 2 drops of lemon and 1 or 2 drops of black pepper? It's lemon pepper salt, and it doesn't have all the crap. It doesn't have the filler, the anti-caking. Salt is 65% anti-caking. It's we don't need it. We don't need it. So that's what I do. I go to the formula. I go to the rest of grocery stores, and I plagiarize. I copy. I don't buy. I don't make stuff up. I just I swap out. So if I see a tablespoon of rosemary, a tablespoon of thyme, I put in 1 drop and a little bit of olive oil, and I add that to my preparation.
I'm so glad you said that. When you listen to the videos of salt that I used to buy there.
Yeah.
And whenever I know anybody's going, I make them buy it for me.
Yeah.
I run out. And I look at the back in my porridge onion. I can work out there was like rosemary, thyme, and sage, and a few others. I never even knew the names I could make it.
They're wonderful. And I get these little tiny, these 1 tablespoon of salt. I mean, how much is that? What, 10 cents? 15 cents? 1 or 2 drops of essential oil. I like to put in, maybe I'll make a salt blend. I want some Mediterranean flavor or something kind of spicy. So maybe a coriander and a red pepper. That salt. And keep that over by the stove. And keep it in the cupboard. And use it. And the lemon pepper. Or the Italian seasonings, rosemary, thyme, oregano. Put all 3 drops in there, put it in the salt, and just have it. You have your Italian seasoning. I put a little bit of white pepper in there, and that's what I use to season my vegetables and pastas. And just kind of use the salt and the oil in combination. It's just wonderful. It's just so easy. So easy, and you don't ruin food if you have these. As chefs and home cooks, it's our job to bring out the flavor. It's so important to use the appropriate amount of salt. I mean, most restaurants oversalt. So if you're taking control of your food intake and preparing mostly home meals, you're deciding how much salt goes into the food. And that salt is important to begin to start using it at the beginning of your preparation, and that really starts to bring out the flavors. The later salt goes into a dish, the more salt you need to bring out those natural flavors. So salt early on, pepper. The sooner you put that in a dish, the more heat will come out of it also. So anyway, those are some of the techniques I like to use the salt in.
Very good point. I mean, I do my own seasonal salt, and personally, I like to use fresh herbs, but like Ramon said, you can use the oil, and the oil is so potent. And the beauty of the oil is that you get absorbed by the salt. So the way I do my seasonal salt, I use the fresh herbs, and I crush them fresh, and then actually embed the salt into the juice so they get flavor. It's very important. Most of the salt that you find on the market today, they're all dry. So they do dry herbs, and they put the the salt is dry, but they stay separated. And you open them up, and in 3 months, they don't taste like nothing. So if you do like Ramon, just to do a little bit of oil, you're actually going to have a long-lasting flavor salt. So very quickly, I saute the onion, so I'll give some caramelization. The onion has a natural sugar, so I like to bring the caramelized flavor onto it. We put the green beans. I blanched the green beans before, so they already been cooked in water and shocked with ice. So when you do that, they retain the green color. They don't turn brown. Okay, then it gets nice and crunchy. A little bit of cherry tomato, not too much. And what I'm doing, I have about a quarter of a cup of extra virgin olive oil, and I put about 7 drops of ginger. Remember, ginger is very spicy. So I would say the first time you try a few drops, and then you can always add. If you put too much from the beginning, then it would be kind of hard to take them out. So we're going to give it a little Asian flavor. So we're going to do cilantro and ginger. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because we are doing a very big batch. So very quickly, you can use this sauce, let's call it sauce, ahead of time. I have the rice noodle. Rice noodle, if you try to, I'll give you a quick cooking tip. If you cook the rice noodle and you put in the sauce right away, they're very starchy and sticky. So rice noodle, the way you cook it like a regular pasta, but you have to put it in cold water. You got to rinse all the starch out. And then I already chopped this one up a little bit so they'll be easy to serve. But they don't stick. After you rinse them up, they don't stick. They're very nice gluten-free pasta. The only problem, it doesn't have much flavor like the pasta because it's rice. So, and that's what the oil, you guys gonna try and be amazed how much flavor this oil gives to the pasta. Actually, to the whole dish.
I was going to get a little crazy here and start experimenting with some new noodles. I noticed there was a sweet potato, rice-style noodle at the Filipino market. So I think to go just experiment and check Asian markets, Filipino markets. Go buy some of these different things, dragon fruits, and have a little bit of fun with it. But I always like to test the food before I bring it out into a setting like this. Anyway, I'm going to experiment with a little bit at home. I'm going to talk about shrubs. Shrubs are antiquated. It's an old drink. It's what pioneers, it's what farmers used to do with fruit that was rotting. So we'd have things that go bad. And one way to salvage the fruit is to ferment it, in a sense. So we take rotting fruit that's no longer any good, it's passing prime, and would add some sugar, put it off the cupboard for a little while, and let it turn into probiotic, in a sense. It'll go to an alcohol, and you let it sit there for a little longer, the alcohol burns off, and then it begins, it's an alkaline beverage. At that point, it's a probiotic. There's plenty of good flora and fauna in the drink. Most of the sugar's been burned off, and you let it sit there any longer, it starts to turn into a vinegar, raspberry vinegar, strawberry vinegars. So that's another thing you can do. But what I like to do is, this is the finished product. This is about 5 or 6 lemons and about a half cup of organic cane sugar. So what I do is I start off with lemons, and I was doing this, I'd find raspberries or strawberries, there's Pastor Prime in the farmer's market, and they'd just give it to me. And I would just squeeze the juice, throw it in the container. I'm going to use my portable juicer here. And I just throw the whole thing in there. I'm going to make, this is going to be a ginger lemon shrub. So I've just taken some organic ginger. I left the skin on, because there's plenty of bacteria in there, and flora and fauna that you want. And I'm just going to kind of fill that up, shove that in there, and I probably won't shove all the lemons in there. I got to make some room for the sugar. The intent is to cover everything up and kind of seal the fruit in there, or the ginger, with liquid. And that's kind of like a technique for fermenting, if you're making sauerkrauts. Air is kind of the enemy, so you don't want anything kind of exposed, because that'll kind of rot. So anyway.
Vacuum machine.
There you go. Yeah, you can go the sous vide. That sounds like a great idea.
Actually, there is the vacuum machine that have the attachment for the jar. It works perfect. So you put the lid and just suckle the air out. So we are ready for some pasta. You guys ready to taste some pasta?
Yeah.
And I am going to just go ahead and do the shrub right here. So it's really it's a syrup in essence, and so that half a cup of sugar just kind of burned off. I take that lemon and I add water. So we have this natural soft drink in our house, and I feel good about it because I've made it, and it's not poisoned with 9 teaspoons of sugar per your average soda. I'm just going to taste this here. So what I like to do is pour it over ice, and if I had a nice garnish like a peppermint or rosemary, I'd throw that in there over the ice, and it's certainly flavorful enough. So I'm going to add a whole new dimension, and
Are you gonna share?
ginger? How about a ginger?
Ginger's right there. So what I did, talking about the oil, we're doing a big batch over here. So I did put 10 drops of ginger and 12 drops of cilantro, but it was not enough. I mean, I'm doing 2 big pots. So what I did another batch with the 12 and 10 again, and I added up. So I'm gonna pass this one around, so you guys can have a little taste.
And I'll
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll continue making the shrub and see what that looks like, but I'll pour some of these here. So just kind of help yourself. You can wash down the rice noodle with a probiotic natural soda in a sense, and carbonated water is wonderful also. It's a nice way to go with this. Your question?
How long does it take to make the shrub from?
I leave it in the cupboard for about a week.
A week?
A week seems like the magic number. You can fast track it if you wanted to put all of this in a pan and throw in a cap of organic red wine vinegar, and that really gets the process started. So you'd have this done in like 1 or 2 days, 2 or 3 days.
So that seems very similar to making kefir, but you don't have a start with it.
There's no starter. That's why I leave the skin on the ginger, and I just throw the whole lemons in there. And what's in the atmosphere is the starter. So it's in our region, and it's builds up our immune system. So I keep my eyes open for these little jars around thrift stores and yard sales, 25 cents, And the rubber stopper costs, I think, $5 or $6. But anyway, I don't like to use cork. I don't want to stay away from foodborne illness. So I just want to keep everything clean. Even though you are working with, it's bacteria inside here, basically. But you don't want to lodge food into porous materials. So there's a little bit of food safety you need to pay attention to.
Yeah, you don't want to develop bad bacteria. There's good bacteria and bad bacteria.
Yeah, the good bacteria is definitely in here, in the lemon and the ginger. The ginger has been so wonderful for the digestive tract. It's really relaxing. I love to make ginger vinaigrettes. half a teaspoon of mustard. I like to go like almost like a 2-to-1 olive oil to a vinegar, a light vinegar, rice wine vinegar. I drop in 1 drop of ginger essential oil, shake that up. If I want some little extra depth, I'll even drop in a drop of lemongrass and have a wonderful Asian vinaigrette.
Everybody got pasta?
Delicious.
I did this one.
There you go.
All right.
Lots of green beans. You're welcome.
That's beautiful. I was just like, wow, hey, this is
Bon
Italian. Bon appetit. The Italian flag colors.
That's give a different perspective to the rice noodle.
So Ramon, I got some blackberries a few months ago. And I made pie and I saved the juice thinking, there's gotta be something I can do with all this blackberry juice. And it was
Sounds
months
wonderful.
ago.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect for this, right? Although I just threw it away 2 days ago. But it was in my fridge, you know,
Yeah.
for all these months. It was
Blackberry, so many antioxidants. I would just drink that straight up with a little bit of water, a little garnish, and make this elegant drink. Yeah.
not even make a shrub out of it.
To make the shrub, the best way, just do puree and put it in the freezer.
Oh.
And you do it in batches. You don't have to do it all at once and then you have problems storing it. You just store the juice and then you bring it out when you need it and you do it in batches.
Yeah. Our freezer is our best friend. So we go to the farmers markets, we source, we know where our food comes from. So we really focus in on that. 100 years ago, 90% of the people grew most of their food or in regions that did. Nowadays, it's about 10%. I kind of laugh at this concept of farm to table. We used to call it go out in the backyard and pick it at my grandmother's house. So, you have this halo thing around farm to table. Come on, just go check the source. Get it from your local farmers market, your CSA. And what really, it's kind of interesting, I mentioned that, what really got me going on the plant-based approach was getting this huge box of like dandelion greens, kale, and I think it was the red radicchio. I'm like, what do I do with this? I mean, there's mostly, the CSA box is mostly that. And that's when I really started to kind of get into the plant-based approach. So I would do a food jam. I would just get this, and I'd get the oils, and I would start sauteing, experimenting, and just playing around, adding some nuts in.
It's funny that you say that because in the old days, that's actually radicchio in Italy, it grows pretty wild all over the place. In wintertime, you know, we used to go down the field and get the radicchio. It used to grow wild. You know, after the harvest of the grape, then you have the olive tree, which was the beginning of December. By then, you start getting all this head of red radicchio growing up. I remember I used to go and grab it. We had some ground pork or some sausages. We used to get the leaf of radicchio, blanch them, stuff it with some sausages, roll them up, put it in the pan with some tomato sauce and make it in the oven.
Anybody would like a drink?
Everybody. So, yes, some of the vegetables they are bitter, but you gotta know that the bitter vegetable actually is good for your blood system. Like hickory, Swiss chard, very good for your blood system.
Sorry about that.
And you
Okay, whoever didn't get the, I'm sorry. Whoever didn't get the lemon ginger shrub, you can have the next drink I'm going to make, which is kind of like an orange squirt drink.
And then when they come to your house after that one's done.
That's right. I mean, this will keep in the refrigerator for about a month, but I've never had one last more than a couple days in the fridge because the kids just get all over it. So, I'm just going to make this mostly ginger. And squeeze the...
Okay, moving to the next one. He's gonna do another shrub, and I'm getting set for our dessert for the day. So I've done several desserts, like you said. You're flavoring the ice cream with your essential oil. Beautiful. You can do like a summertime puree. She has a blackberry puree. You can do raspberry puree, strawberry puree, and infuse it with your favorite oil. I've been experimenting with some panna cotta. The beauty of the essential oil, you don't want to cook them too much.
like in this pasta, see, that's your final touch. And you bring out the flavor and you actually get the benefit of the oil. The panna cotta, again, you cook the cream. Panna cotta basically in Italiano means cooked cream. And that's what it is. It's brown sugar, cream, you heat it up for 10 minutes, it cooks, you put the gelatin, you put your favorite flavor, oil, and it's done. That's it. So that's the beauty of it. What we do tonight, we're doing a chocolate lava cake. So I started to be gluten-free because again, there's so many people with gluten intolerance nowadays, you know, and it's not your fault. It's the people who manufacture the food. Actually, I could not believe I'm from Italy and we eat pasta and bread every single day, you know, every hour of the day. So when I came to this country, actually I saw so many people with gluten intolerance, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I did my research and I found out that the wheat that was modified after World War II to withstand the weather. So in Italy, it's funny because you go from, Italy is composed of 19 regions. And when you hop from one region to another, they have their own bread. They have their own micro agricultural system. The flour actually changed. Even if you go to the big supermarket, yeah, you find the generic flour comes from who knows where nowadays, but you still find the local flour. And when you make the bread with the local flour, it changes. Here, people, bakery in particular, they're trying to reproduce the bread of Europe. The problem is that the flour is the same. So you cannot reproduce the bread of different parts of Europe when you don't have the main ingredient. Believe me, I have people that go from Italy and come back with a bottle of olive oil. Bottle of oil is very easy. Or with a coffee. Say, I love this coffee in Italy, it was amazing. I bring it here to the States, I make it in my coffee machine, and it's not the same. Why? They get the recipe at the restaurants. I got this recipe from this chef. It was an amazing meal. I went to the farmer market. I bought all the ingredients, and it doesn't taste the same. Why? Because the soil is different here. All the minerals. Okay. So going back on the oil, that's why the oil is so amazing, because they are produced in their country of origin, and the data doesn't want to change that because of the property. So you got to respect that. That's the big things. When I worked for a big company, Italian company, we used to import everything from Italy. And the food was amazing. And it tasted good. Then the company got sold, changed hands, and started cutting. And they didn't buy anymore the stuff from Italy. That's when I left. The company is still in the market, but you know, it's not what it used to be. You know, of course, once you are established, it's kind of hard. But you know, the trend is very. Here's the big mass-produced food. You know, is good to a certain point. You get to a point like McDonald's, you know, the scandal with the real chicken. So now it's a real chicken. So what it was before. But stay away. I mean, the most important things, read the label. You know, anything, unfortunately, you know, if it's